So welcome to the video, basically. Yeah, this is the scripted video that I've done, but the intro is kind of shit. But what I have to show you today is a brand new game that's been developed by Keen Software House. They are the people who made Space Engineers, as you saw in the introduction, but this is a brand new game. It's called Medieval Engineers. Now, one thing that I know a lot of people are worried about is the fact that obviously this is going to take people away from Space Engineers to develop this game. Nothing to worry about on that front. They've got two separate teams. So they've got one still working on Space Engineers and they've got another team working on Medieval Engineers. So there's absolutely nothing to worry about with that, and the development of each game is helping the other development as well, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now let's talk a little bit about the world that it's set in. Obviously it's set on Earth, so we've got gravity and we've got air again. Obviously we don't have jetpacks because it's medieval times, but the world itself is one massive procedurally generated asteroid. So the world's going to be different every single time you load into a different world, and if you continue walking you will spawn in a different part of the world, and obviously, you know, it'll keep the previous part of the world that you've been in and all that kind of stuff. But they've also said that you can turn the endless world on or off. So obviously if you haven't got a massive beefy computer, you can turn that off, so you can only have a specific world space, which, you know, is better for lower end machines and stuff like that. In the game they've got better destruction mechanics, or better destruction mechanics that I like. You know, they've got different parts breaking off instead of just the one block breaking, and the parts stay as well, they don't just disappear. And, you know, like wood splinters, and then the splinters of the wood stay there, bits of rock and rubble stay on the ground. I'm assuming you have to clear it up, I'm not entirely sure. The world itself has pre-rendered physics, so you've got things like weight and gravity and other things like that. So you can't build a tall structure and then just expect it to stay there without supporting it properly. And you can't have any floating castles either. Sorry for you Minecraft fans, but no more floating castles or land bridges that spawn, you know, halfway across the map. So yeah, you have to support your structures properly. But the funny thing is, they've also said something about mine shafts possibly caving in. So you're going to have to support your mine shafts as well, which I really love the idea of, because it'll, you know, stop people from having these massive mine shafts without properly supporting them, so it'll take people more time to mine and other things like that. So obviously, you know, you'll be able to build underground as well. But with the progression paths that they've laid out, you know, they've already got the progression path in there, which I really like. So they've said that you start off in the Stone Age and then work up to the Iron Age, which is good for the kind of time and era that they're setting in, and, you know, it doesn't give you too much that you need to work towards. So I'm assuming that you start off with a stone or something, or, you know, you can pick up a stone off the ground. You can probably cut down a tree with it or something like that, get a handle out of it, cut down a few more trees and make yourself, you know, a simple stone axe. Possibly make a fire, you know, get a bit more stone, a bit of iron possibly, smelt down a bit of iron, make yourself a simple iron axe or an iron pickaxe or something, mine more iron, build a smelter, build other things, and then, you know, smelt yourself a proper iron tool, and then build bigger and better things. I'm assuming that's the way that it's going to go anyway. They haven't fully explained it to us. You will no longer have an inventory though in this game, which they're not entirely sure about, because they don't want it to get boring and you having to constantly move supplies around. But they've said that the way that you're going to have to do it is that you will have to create ways of moving supplies around. Like, say if you've got a deep mine shaft, you'll have to have a pulley system to get all your ore from the bottom of the mine shaft up to the top, and then you're going to have a mine cart or something. And then if you're building a tower, you're going to have to pull a system that gets the supplies from the bottom of the tower to the top, so then you can build with them. Which I really like the idea of, because, you know, then you're not carrying around like massive amounts of steel plates and other things like that, so you can just build endlessly. Because obviously we don't have compression blocks and everything like the supply crates are in Space Engineers. So yeah, I quite like that idea, because it also means that you can see if something is under construction, which I love the idea of. But one interesting thing about this game is the fact that they've said that AI will be in. Now obviously for anyone who's played Space Engineers knows that we've wanted AI in Space Engineers for God knows how long, but they have said that they will have barbarians in Medieval Engineers. So with that, they've said that they'll come and attack your castle from time to time, you know, act as a bit of a threat, so then you have to make a good defensive castle, and it's not just there for, you know, I have a castle kind of thing, which I like the idea of, because it means that you'll spend your first few nights in terror, you know, with a little shack or something like that, a little wooden shack, and hoping that they won't attack you. But they've said that the first release of the game won't have the AI in, which is completely understandable, because, you know, they've got to work it in and give it a bit of time and stuff like that. They've also said that we won't have a survival mode in the first release, and we won't have multiplayer in the first release, so we're only going to have creative and all the stuff that we've seen in the video that was released, which honestly I don't think is that bad. So, you know, that's the first release of the game. But the new building mechanics that they've got for the large grids or buildings or space ships, you know, large spaceships, whatever you want to call them, you can now place more than one block in the same location as long as they don't overlap each other. So say you can put a wall in and then a chair or a supply barrel or something inside that building, so then it doesn't take up the whole of the inside of the building, so then it just becomes useless, which I've wanted in Space Engineers for God knows how long. But they have also said that that's going to be put into Space Engineers, which I'm really hoping that it's soon. I really hope that it's soon. The small grid construction, which is on the screen now, I think it's more free for you to do what you want, because you're not just, you know, stuck with, you've got a 1x1 block, you've got a slanted block, you know, you've got a quarter block, and then you've got a 3/4 block and stuff like that. So you can do more stuff with it, I think, anyway. And obviously we don't have thrusters and stuff, so you're going to have to create ways to move these about as well, whether it's up and down a hill and you've got to crank it up with a winch and a piece of rope or whatever. With the combat in the game, they've said that they don't want people fighting themselves with swords and stuff. They want it to be more about building stuff, and the way that you fight and conquer is that you use the things that you've built, like catapults and trebuchets and stuff like that. But they have said that if enough people say, you know, we want swords, we want to be able to hack and slash and, you know, defend our castle to the last man if we need to, they've said that they will put swords and other means of, you know, disemboweling people into the game if people ask for it. But one thing that was spoken about in the interview that the lead developer of Keen Software House did with Aaron from Last Stand Gamers, which will be linked in the video description, the interview will be, as well as the release video that they did, is the is the matter of fire and water. Now, they've said that they're not focusing on fire and water at the moment, and there's very good reasons why they're not. One reason is that they want the water to be a real simulation of what water would do, so, you know, it will react to gravity and things like that, and it will fill up a space up to a certain point, and as long as it keeps flowing, it will keep on flooding into that area, you know. But they've also said that they're not focusing on that because I don't know whether it'll work on, you know, low-end machines or things like that, which could be a problem for them. So if it's not properly optimised, or they just can't simply run it on a low-end machine, they might just completely scrap it, which I will completely understand, but I hope that they can get it working for a low-end machine. With the fire as well, they said that they want the fire to be able to spread through a wooden structure or your castle and engulf it in flames, so that it'll burn all the wooden parts away, and, you know, it'll scald and possibly slightly burn the stone away and stuff like that and make it brittle, which I love the idea of, to see a whole castle up in flames and stuff like that. It'd just be amazing. But once again, that could fall into the same issue of, will a low-end gaming PC be able to render in that and take the load of what that would look like and, you know, happen. But that's the fire and water. I hope that they manage to fit it in, but they might not do. So the game will be available for early access on Steam. We've gotten that. It'll be just like Space Engineers, so we'll be able to get updates through Steam as often, but we're not sure when we'll get the updates, whether it'll be like every Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. You'll have workshop support out of the box, so you know you can upload your creations to the Steam Workshop and other things like that, and other people can download them and have a look at them. They've got modding API as well, will be available on launch, so you never know, you might see mods up on Steam Workshop in a week or so or whatever. They said that they do eventually want mod support as well for the game, and they want people to make their own mods so then they can change the game to how they want it to be. And they also want player feedback on the game, because obviously they want to make the game better for us as players, but it will also make the development a heck of a lot easier, because then they'll be able to get rid of bugs a heck of a lot quicker like they have done with Space Engineers. So if you do get the game, obviously go onto the forums and give them as much feedback as you need to, because there will be people actively scrolling through all the time and looking at it and taking that feedback and putting it into the game, you know, as they've always done. But in this game there are a few things that I want from this game that I haven't seen. I want more wind effects, because obviously the trees and plants and stuff, they sway with the breeze and things like that, and you know, you can build windmills and stuff, so obviously there's wind there. But if you've looked at the flags aren't flags. The flags are just basically there, stationary, like, oh yeah, look, I'm a static flag. I really want those to be able to wave and move with the breeze. Obviously if they're inside, stop the breeze unless there's a window, but I don't know whether they'll be able to do that. I don't want so many perfect edges, because if you've seen on the stone walls, they're completely square. And you can see where the textures are supposed to end and stuff, and where it's supposed to be a little bit jagged, but it just keeps on going, so there's a bit of overlapping textures and stuff. It looks great from a distance, but when you're really close up, it looks a bit skewy to me, which I'm not very happy with, but I'm sure that they'll update the textures and stuff in the future, so I've got no problem with that. And last but not least, the music. I love the music for this game. Just the beginning of the music is freaking amazing. I want more of the music. And I also want them to make the music free for the YouTubers to use. I don't know if they have, because you know, I haven't uploaded this video up yet, but I will find out once I do. But I really hope that they do more music and that they make it free for YouTubers to use, because I love the music. So, in conclusion to this quite long video that I've done, I love Keen Software House. I really do. I love them, and I love the games that they're making. And honestly, they are very quickly becoming my favourite game developers at the moment. It used to be nice with Battlefield 3, but now because of Battlefield 4 and stuff, it's kind of iffy a bit. You know, I'm not Ubisoft. Nah, fuck you, Ubisoft. But Keen Software House, I really do love them. So if you want to know more about this, go and check out the links in the video description, because that'll be to all the videos and stuff. And keep an eye out for Medieval Engineers. So thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe and other stuff, and comment what you'd like to see in Medieval Engineers, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers.